Hi there guys, so it has now been revealed that Andy Ruiz Jr. has split with his trainer Manny Robles, the coach that inspired his victory over Anthony Joshua. Now this is what Manny Robles had to say regarding the split with Andy Ruiz Jr. I have to be thankful to Andy and his dad for giving me the opportunity to be part of something special, to have made history. Now, those are kind words from Manny Robles considering he didn't really get the best out of Andy Ruiz Jr. in that last fight, and it was through no fault of his own, because he tried to get Andy Ruiz Jr. into camp, but it was revealed that in the early stages of camp, when Andy Ruiz Jr. should have been there, getting his head down and preparing for this fight, he wasn't. Manny Robles could do no more than what he'd done. And I believe as a trainer, he done what he could with Andy Ruiz Jr. You could see what he can get out of Andy Ruiz Jr. when Ruiz is willing to put the time and effort in. He was inspired to win that fight against Anthony Joshua, but he wasn't in the rematch. Now obviously, Anthony Joshua's game plan played a big part in the fight as well. If Andy Ruiz Jr. came in shape, the result would have been the same. I mean, I don't believe Andy Ruiz Jr. from the first fight would have beat Anthony Joshua from the second fight. I just don't think it would have happened. But it was clear Andy Ruiz Jr. didn't want it as much. He wasn't so inspired to win that fight. And I think the realization for Andy Ruiz Jr. kind of set in that final round when he realized he didn't do everything he could have. As I said, had Andy Ruiz Jr. came in shape and was in the same mindset as the first fight, the result would have been the same. Anthony Joshua would have beat him because Anthony Joshua controlled everything. He controlled the distance, he controlled the timing, the positioning, everything. Anthony Joshua was in complete control. There was no chance for Andy Ruiz Jr. to close that distance, which he had last time. Andy Ruiz Jr. needed to get on the inside. That was the only way he could beat Anthony Joshua. He done that in the first fight because Anthony Joshua allowed him to. In the second fight, Anthony Joshua did not allow Andy Ruiz Jr. to close that distance, and that was why he could not get to Anthony Joshua. That was why he could not replicate the success of the first fight. So no matter what version of Andy Ruiz Jr. was in there, Anthony Joshua would have beat him. So you cannot put this down to Manny Robles. Obviously, Andy Ruiz Jr. has to shoulder the blame on this one. And it's not even really a blame. He just got beaten by the better man. Anthony Joshua was the better man in the second fight, whereas Andy Ruiz Jr. was the better man in the first fight. But as I said, Anthony Joshua, with that game plan, with that discipline, not being too greedy when he lands punches, that was always going to beat Andy Ruiz Jr. Now, obviously, the split was confirmed after Andy Ruiz Jr. was seen and posted that he was back in the gym and back preparing for another fight. Now, we don't know when Andy Ruiz Jr. will get out next, but it was kind of funny how Andy Ruiz Jr. was pictured in the gym just a few days after Eddie Hearn put in an offer for Andy Ruiz Jr. to fight Dillian Whyte, a 7-figure offer. Now, I don't imagine Andy Ruiz Jr. is going to find a better deal than that, because if he wants to get back to the top and wants a fast track there, then Dillian Whyte is the man to get in with. It's a very dangerous fight, and a fight that could be too much for Andy Ruiz Jr., but still, that is the fight he needs to take if he wants to get straight back to the top and not waste time on warm-ups and tune-ups, because if he is a true champion, he wants to get straight back in there and go back to the top. And who better to get back into the ring with than Dillian Whyte, because Dillian Whyte has proven he is the best fighter outside of the champions in the heavyweight division. I don't think anyone can really dispute that if you look at his track record and his resume. Joseph Parker, Oscar Rivas, those kind of fighters on his resume. So Dillian Whyte can provide Andy Ruiz Jr. the opportunity to go straight back to the top and go into a big fight in the heavyweight division. But it is clear now that Manny Robles will not be training Andy Ruiz Jr. anymore. Now, it seems like an amicable split because Manny Robles spoke very well of Andy Ruiz Jr. and his father as well. So he is clearly grateful for the opportunities that Andy Ruiz Jr. has created for him. Because let's remember, Manny Robles trained Dominic Breazeale when he fought Anthony Joshua, and he explained when he started training Andy Ruiz Jr. and Andy Ruiz Jr. got that Anthony Joshua fight. He had a much better fighter this time to train. So he has clearly been working his way up and trying to get those opportunities. He had Andy Ruiz Jr. and he turned him into a champion. That is not all down to Manny Robles. I mean, Andy Ruiz Jr. has to take some credit. He was the guy in there doing it. But still, Manny Robles found a guy, Andy Ruiz Jr., someone who was overweight, didn't look like a fighter, and turned him into a champion. And he demands respect for that. He got the best out of Andy Ruiz Jr. in that first Anthony Joshua fight, but he could not do it in the second fight because Andy Ruiz just wasn't there. He wasn't in it. He didn't want it enough. And in the boxing game, you have to want it more than anything. Not the money, not the cars, not the fame, not the houses. None of that matters when you get in that squared circle. And to be honest, I think that did matter too much for Andy Ruiz Jr. in the build-up to that Anthony Joshua fight, the rematch in Saudi Arabia. And once a fighter is in that kind of mindset, it is very difficult to get them back on track. And that goes back to the Marvin Hagler saying, it's difficult to get out of bed and do your hill runs when you are wearing silk pajamas. And there is no better example than Andy Ruiz Jr. in the Anthony Joshua rematch. Guys, what are your thoughts on this? Andy Ruiz Jr. has now confirmed he has split with his long-term trainer, Manny Robles, who inspired his great victory over Anthony Joshua and made him become the first Mexican heavyweight world champion. Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments below, click your thumbs up and subscribe if you are new. Thanks guys.